projection and forgiveness go together, because it's forgiveness that undoes the projections of guilt. Okay? So forgiveness that undoes, it doesn't undo projection, it undoes our projections of guilt. So it actually is forgiveness that begins the process of healing our minds. Okay? So that's number 4. Then we'll go in quickly to number 5. You must master and learn the art of acceptance. What does that mean? You're laughing, Sally.
Yeah. Because it's...
What is it?
To me right now, it's impossible to, just let go and accept.
Yeah. What do we need to accept?
Everything.
Yeah, but even more practical. Let's get to the practical. We're in a relationship, right? That me and Deirdre's in a relationship. Well, how do I practice acceptance with Deirdre in a relationship? What does that mean to practice the art of acceptance?
Letting me be who I am.
What if I don't? You'll let me know about it.
Well, because if you resist who I am, I'll still always be that way.
Okay.
But you accept that.
Why is it important?
Because it's your projection. It's just a projection. It's not real. So it's almost like you're watching a movie named Deirdre. And you've picked one scene or another. So it's like you're going to accept it or reject it, but it's a false scene. It's a scene, so I think the more important thing is the acceptance of what you're seeing. Choose the scene that I use Holy Spirit, or sometimes I say, where are my Jesus glasses? Where did they go? Oh, I'm wearing, oh wait, but I don't know, help me, that's as far as I'm
Okay,
getting.
here's the way it works. If you're not practicing the art of acceptance in your relationships, you're going to have stormy relationships sooner or later. Okay?
Okay.
Here's how it works. Deirdre comes home from work. She's in a real bad mood. She's had a bad day.
Okay.
Okay. Can I accept Deirdre being in a bad mood without it affecting me? If I can't accept that, then I am going to get into a confrontation with Deirdre, and she's already in a bad mood. Now Deirdre is actually going to project onto me. You see? Why? It's because I couldn't accept her being in a bad mood without it having an effect on me. Imagine if you're working in a job, all right, in a big company, and you go in and there's 3 or 4 people and one person's always angry, one person's always in a bad mood, or one person's this. Imagine what your daily job would be like going in there and it affecting you every day. An angry person makes you angry. Someone in a bad mood puts you in a bad mood. You're open to the effects of everything around you, isn't that right? Because I'm not willing to accept people as they are. You're right there, 100% right. Okay, if I can accept, Jody, that you're going to have a bad day, without it affecting me. No, I'm not going to have a bad day, but I can allow you to have a bad day. Just imagine if I didn't allow you, or if I couldn't allow you to have a bad day. What the effect's going to be on me? You see, there's people and there's working, and they're working in very intense, environments and businesses and companies and everything else, and they're all doing the course. And you're not asked to go and sit in a cave somewhere to do a Course in Miracles. You're asked to continue doing your work and everything. So we're asked to apply the course in all types of environments. So imagine if you're trying to waken up. And remember, only a peaceful mind is going to waken up. So how are you going to wake up if you can't accept the world the way it is and the people that's in it the way they are, and especially the relationships that you have with the people around you? Can you accept them as they are? Can you accept them being in a bad mood? Can you accept them being in a good mood? Some people can't accept other people. Look at that person, they're always bloody smiling, they're always happy. They really piss me off.
Just want to smack
Do you know what I mean? So either or.
Yeah.
You know, so you can accept people being really happy, or can you accept people being really bad? If you don't, you're in a big lot of trouble. Your relationship is going to be in big, big trouble. Remember, this is about the perfect relationship. Okay? And it's about understanding in that relationship. So acceptance is very, very key. Number 6, you must master and learn the art of responsibility. What do I need to be responsible for?
Your perceptions.
Yes. Anything else?
Your projection.
Yes. Anything else?
That you've created your own reality.
Mm-hmm. I must be willing to take 100% responsibility for everything in my life. Everything. My projections, my emotions, my environment, my relationships, everything. If I am not willing to take responsibility for everything in my life, I am going to experience pain. Why? It's because I am going to play the victim. And if I play the victim, and we're all very good at playing the victims, if I play the victim's role calls for suffering. That's what the victim is, isn't it? Now, the other part of this scenario is, right, the victim, you can't play the victim without a...
Victimizer.
You need someone to victimize you. So you have to set about now and create a victimizer. Because we need the victimizer to project onto and to create the victim. So you can see how the whole thing's all set up. Why? It's because I'm not willing to take 100% responsibility. So that's what you were kind of working on there, Jody.
Right, thank you.
Do you know
Mhm.
that relationships that you were talking about, there might be 99.9% responsibility there, but there's still a little bit of work, I feel, that needs to be done.
Right.
So then we're coming to the last one, all right? And the last one is you must learn and master what love is not. Okay? Jesus says in the Course that there's no love in this world that's without ambivalence. Do you know what that means? There's no love in this world that's without ambivalence. That means there's no love in this world that is without love and hate. Okay? So another way of saying that, there's no love in this world that's without the persona and the shadow.
Mm.
Isn't that another way of saying it?
Or conditional love. There's a condition.
Yeah, but the love-hate part. The love-hate part
Love-hate.
is the persona, because we all love our personas. We're creating our personas, and we like to be around like-minded people, other personas. So the persona that you're creating is always going to be like the persona of the people in your life. So, for example, someone who's doing A Course in Miracles would like to hang around with people who are doing A Course in Miracles. Isn't that right? Someone who likes football would like to hang around with people who are doing football. You know? So like-minded people will always gather together. Alright? So that's the love part of this. Everybody's got that part of themselves. Okay? But everybody's got the self-hate part, also the shadow. That's the love-hate that's in everybody. Okay? And there's no one here. If you're meeting someone and you want to meet someone you think this person's all about the love, then you're deluding yourself. Because the shadow is hiding behind it. So if you want a good example of what personas look like, go on to a dating site. Alright? Now look at all the people put in. What they're doing is, they're writing in the type of person they are and who they would like to meet. That's pure persona. Do they mention the shadow at all?
I think not.
There's no shadows in dating sites. So everybody who meets everybody, right, what they do is they're putting their persona, they're putting their best face forward, and they're hiding the rest. And this is why most relationships in this world will always fail. It's because people are not being honest. So what we're going to do here now is How to know if love is real or not. So there's 4 elements within this love-hate relationship that we all have. So, in all relationships we have demands, expectations, needs and desires. Isn't that right? Of everybody, including ourselves. So, as long as you have demands, expectations, needs and desires of someone else, you're always going to have them of yourself. Okay? Now, we all place expectations upon ourselves. We expect this of ourselves. We demand that of ourselves. We need this of ourselves and we desire these. These are all the parts of ourselves that we're creating. This is the ego self-image that we're creating of ourselves. So the first one here is, this is a little test to go through. Is your love real or not? Is it conditional or not? Because demands, expectations, needs and desires are all conditions, aren't they? Okay, so the first question you need to ask here is, do you have any expectations from your relationship? Remember, we're talking about the perfect relationship here. Okay, so Deirdre with Paul, what expectations? Get a sheet of paper and write down your expectations, what you needed. Because this is what's really happened. Expect anything from anyone and now you become a barter agent. What this means is an account will be set up in the mind of each person, unconsciously of course, and each party will keep their own scores. It goes something like this. I expect you to do this for me because you expected me to do that for you, and I did. Now you owe me. Isn't this right? Okay? We keep a little account of who does what. Alright, and this builds our expectations and our expectations. And if you do not do this for me, then God help you. I will make you suffer. Why? It's because I already did something for you. You owe me a debt. Alright? Remember, this is supposed to be love. This is supposed to be unconditional love. So what are we doing straight away? We're putting conditions onto it. Okay? Now, most of the time, this never comes to words. It is only by thoughts only. And you may believe, now looking back, that you're glad that you did not say these words. But you're wrong. Just by thinking them is the exact same thing as saying them. We think because we don't say certain things that we're excused, we're off the hook. We're not. And it's the same coming with an expectation. If you have an expectation of someone and you don't correct that expectation, you allow that expectation to sit there, then that expectation is going to bite you in the bum. It's going to come back and you're going to get very angry because you're going to be building up now a debt against this other person that you have this expectation of. So what I'm saying here, this is the basis for the destruction and the dissolution of all relationships. Okay, this is where it starts. The second element, and this is, do you have any demands on anyone in this relationship? And to be honest, of course we do. To demand anything from anyone is to enslave them. And if you enslave them, you must enslave yourself. No human spirit has the right to change another spirit. That is a must if you want to advance spiritually. You simply must understand this concept. If you do, peace will be yours in an instant. If you do not choose this, then peace will forever pass you by. Because basically what we do is we have so many demands upon ourselves and other people in our lives that we continually put ourselves under pressure. It's one of the biggest conditions that we have on life, on relationships, and with ourselves. If you give something to anyone, it must be through your own free will, with no expectations or demands or anything in return. Then you have truly given something unconditionally. And it's the very same with love. If I say to you that I truly love you, I can neither expect nor demand anything in return of that love. What happens when you say you love someone and that person doesn't say, I love you back? What goes on in our heads then? Why didn't you tell me you loved me? Well, I told you I loved you. So why were you only telling me you loved me so you wanted to hear me say it? So even the little things okay, can build up into big, big things in a relationship. Only love that is given freely can be called love. All else is a travesty of love. So remember again, we're on the perfect relationship here. And this is how love, to know if love is real. So the third one then is, have you any needs in the relationship? Okay? To say that I have a need is to really say that I have something missing within me and now I need you to fill it. This is called lack. As long as we continue to fill this lack within us with external people, things and places, then we will always carry the lack within us. And it will always be here. So, seeking outside ourselves, okay? Because we seek outside myself, I'm seeking for love from you, it takes me outside myself. Now I must be in lack. Do you see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
If I wasn't seeking for love outside myself, then I wouldn't suffer the lack. Cause and effect. But because I am seeking for love outside myself, why? Because I don't know anything else. I'm born into a world where everything is outside of ourselves. So what do? As sheep, we do what everybody else does. Oh, these people are getting married, these people are in relationships, so I must do this. So I must go and get a relationship. So all we're doing is the blind leading the blind. Alright, we're just doing what everybody else does. And they don't have a clue what they're doing, but we think we know that they're doing what they're doing, or else they wouldn't be doing it. So we do it. And then there are people watching us, okay, and they're seeing us doing stuff, and they're thinking, oh, he must know what he's doing. So they start to follow us, but we don't know what we're doing. And now, all of a sudden, you have a big row of people following each other, and the guy at the front doesn't have a fucking clue where he's going.
That's called the blind leading the
The
blind,
blind.
right?
Yes, exactly. So you can see in love, in this world, it's literally been the blind leading the blind as far as love is concerned. So then the last one then is, do you have any desires? To desire something or someone is your wish to fulfill an image that you have of yourself. So what do we desire? We're always desiring a better ego image. And you are a part of that image that I want to have of myself. Okay, so remember the persona is the image we're creating of ourselves all the time. The persona is what we're trying to make into the perfect ego, the perfect person. The ego is trying to make the persona into the Son of God, the perfect separated being. But it can't be. There's no such thing. Okay? So what we're really doing here is we're desiring to create something that's in direct competition with God as an ego. So this is why the ego has these investments, these demands, expectations, needs and desires, because it's creating another super being, a human being, that's going to rival what God has made. Okay?
He really believes that.
The ego? Of course. But everything the ego believes is insane. And don't think that the ego doesn't believe anything that's not insane. Because everything that is insane is the ego. Remember, the ego is everything that heaven is not. Okay, now, what I've just described really is love dependency. Because that relationship is set up, alright, and needs, demands, expectations, and desires. You're always going to be a slave to it. In a genuine relationship of love with another person, there can be no wanting whatsoever. You will have no needs that another must fill. You will have no desires that another must provide. There will only be an outward flow of genuine affection and friendship. The greatest joys and the greatest pains of your life come from the same place in your relationships. Master your relationships and you master your life. Okay, so what this is really saying now is, okay, what do? I'm in a relationship, we'll use you again there, right? And all of a sudden I have this expectation. I become aware that I have this expectation from Deirdre. So what do I do next?
You ask yourself who has the expectation.
Yes. Then what?
and then you say, I'm going to choose not to. So the answer is probably, it's actually my ego who has that expectation. So you're going to say, I don't have that expectation, the ego does, I'm choosing not to have the expectation.
Right, that's perfect. And so what you're really doing in that is you're choosing against the expectation and you're choosing against the ego. You're identifying the ego, all right, which is we all must do. Because the separation has to happen now. You know that. You have to go through another separation. Sorry.
So you're
Breaking up with the
you're
ego.
becoming a personality
What's happening is you're...
when you do that.
Sorry?
When you
You're
do that,
becoming the personality when you do that process of identifying the ego.
Yes. But what you're really doing is now you're questioning everything to do with the I am. All right? Because you're not your personality either.
Right.
Okay? Your personality is the Son of God. And we'll get to that in a moment. You know the advanced teacher of God?
Pardon?
The advanced teacher of God?
Right.
You know, if you read that in the manual,
Right.
that's your personality.
we were just reading that.
That's your true personality. And I'll do that in a little while for you, okay? But ultimately in this, right, it's about now being aware of the expectation and choosing against it, like Deborah has said. Do I really want this? Because if I insist on having this expectation, it's going to cause me pain. And that's okay. Now I'm choosing pain. Just be aware of that. As long as I hold these expectations, I am choosing pain. As long as I hold demands, needs and desires, I am choosing pain. Jesus says you can't seek for love in the body and escape pain. It's impossible. So as long as we seek for love outside of ourselves, then it's unavoidable that we're going to avoid pain. We're always going to feel pain. That is the price of choosing the ego. Okay? So, what we do is any demands, any needs, any desires, any expectations, you become aware of them, you correct them, and you hand them over. You just say to Jesus and the Holy Spirit, I don't want this. Do I want this expectation? No, I give it to you. Do I want this demand? No, I give it to you. Do I need this desire? Or do I want this need? No, I give it to you.
There's a fine distinction between want and need.
Very fine.
And I'm just, you know, as a married person, wondering and reverse it. You get to know pretty early on in a relationship with a man, there's one thing at the top of their list that they need, and they would like it as often as possible. At what point do you, I mean, after you've gone through, I have a headache, I'm tired, I've just bathed 3 kids, okay, running out of excuses. How do you, it's almost, I don't know that it's a mental need or a biological need. And you walk that fine line of, okay, I want to give my partner what they need.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree on a time when we both can agree that that need can be met without any distress to either side?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I'm just trying to do it on a relationship here in the 3rd dimension.
Yeah.
How do you discern? Do you really need it? Well, you're a guy. Do you really need it? Or is every hormone in your body saying, I need it and I need it now? So how do you walk that and be...
Yeah. Well, the first...
Why?
first,
Irish people don't talk about
They
it?
wouldn't talk about it, no.
the first thing...
Yeah, but
No,
it
no, good, not
exists.
bad.
Maybe they don't talk about it, but they
You're
think
right.
about
Of
it.
course,
This point
of course.
where we see it, yes.
You see, the thing about this, right, it's very, very dangerous to jump into the perspective of someone else. You're not asked to do that. Jesus in the Course is not, when he's talking to us in the Course, he's not talking about, he doesn't bring in your family, he doesn't bring in any other memories, any other members of your special relationships.
Mhm.
He doesn't talk about anybody else, does he?
Mhm.
He only talks about you,
Yeah.
from your perspective all the time.
Right.
So what we want to do here is we're always trying to shift the perspective, and we're saying, okay, this is about me, but what about You know, what about he wants this and she wants this and they want this and all of these kind of things. So we're trying to project a part of the responsibility onto other people all the time. So the reason why I'm saying that to you, Jody, is it's like this. Is what I would do is you must do what's right for you. You have to be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're there and you don't want to do that, then you are playing the victim if you give in and say, okay, I'll do this. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it because I know you want to do it. Is that you being true to yourself?
Is that how you're true to yourself? What's
Are you being true to yourself when you do something you don't want to do?
Oh yeah, I've learned to be true to myself, but it took many years
Yeah.
of realizing I was doing the victim on now I hate you because now I'm your victim. And yes, it takes a
See,
while.
the problem is not the other person's needs. It's about how you react to their needs. This is about your needs, not about their needs. The lesson that they are
I don't
giving...
know, that me thing about my needs seems selfish.
So who's telling you that?
I'm thinking my not friendly ego.
You see, ultimately in this is, right, we have needs, demands, expectations, desires, all of this, right? And that's what you're asked to focus on here is from this perspective of need. Okay, you're going to have other people, they're going to have needs, they're going to have demands, expectations, but you can turn around and say no in your wrong mind, or you can say no in your right mind.
That's the discerning.
That's the discernment here. So what I would say to you is there's a tool called self-empowerment, okay, and it does, especially with the special relationships, it deals with the special relationships. It's got 5 stages in it, okay, it's got awareness, self-awareness, step 1. Step 2 is detachment, where you detach emotionally from this person. Step 3 is the discernment. Step 4 is forgiveness, and then step 5 is action. So that tool is specifically designed to heal your special relationships and make them into holy relationships. So it's not about the other, not doing the other part. If someone has got a need, and you say, I'm doing a Course in Miracles, you have no needs, you're not getting it. Is that...
That'll attract a lot of
Well, basically, that's what you don't do. Because what you're doing now, you're blaming the Course for you not wanting to do it. You know? So, what you're really asked to do here is to stand up and be true to yourself. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, then say no. And not feel guilty. Because if you say no and you're feeling guilty, you're still doing it with your ego. Does that make sense?
If you say no, you're still doing it.
No, if you say no and you're still feeling guilty, you're still doing it with your ego.
Oh, okay.
So the key here for you to say is, and this goes for everything and to do with discernment in this world, is to say no and not feel guilty.
So the big question is, how do you dump the guilt?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How?
How?
I don't know.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, come on, you want to be making it all so easy. How do you dump the guilt when you say no? What's the key here? How can you say no and not feel guilty? It's really simple. Jesus says in the Course, this is a simple course. Course is a simple course. Where is the only place you can say no and not feel guilty?
In the right mind.
Yes. In the right mind.
Tell me how you get there.
Could you draw that map on the board up there?
All right. How do you, the question is here from Sandy is how do you get to the right mind?
Because of the
Yeah, we'll just finish this now, right? So here it is, right? Remember the perfect relationship? When you accept, when you go into the art of acceptance, you're in your right mind. When you take full responsibility, you're in your right mind. When you apply forgiveness, you're in your right mind. Forgiveness, responsibility, and acceptance all take you into your right mind. So you go through this, all of these. Remember, what love is not is at the end here. So you have all of these at the beginning, and if you're practicing these on a daily routine, okay, that means that you are going to be right-minded 99% of the time. Okay? So therefore, you can say no to just about anybody and never feel guilty. In your right mind, you will never feel guilt. Okay? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're saying no and you're feeling guilty, where are you? In the ego right mind. Or you could be in the ego wrong mind. But you're still in the ego, because only the ego can experience guilt. Isn't that right? So when you say no, when you discern and say no, not tonight, Josephine, alright? Then, and you're experiencing guilt, you can be sure that you have said no with your ego and you make that correction. Yeah? Okay, right, we'll move on.